Senators take their act to Broadway for the penultimate game of the regular season against the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers. And the Senators just arriving on the ice here at Madison Square Garden after a ceremony to honor the President's Trophy winners for 2014-2015. NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly presenting the President's Trophy to Captain Ryan McDonough, and shortly after, the chant here in New York, Ray, was, "We want the cup." That's not the trophy the fans nor the Rangers are interested in.
No, not at all. Of course they should be proud of it. It's a fantastic accomplishment over such a grueling season, and yet in 5 or 6 days it really doesn't mean anything anymore as everybody gets to ground zero.
There's Henrik Lundqvist, who will start tonight for the Rangers, looking for his 30th win of the year in what is the latest and the biggest game of the season for the Ottawa Senators. It's coming up, but first, the anthems, and here's Emily West.
Are presented by the Canadian Eastern Air Defense Sector and Rescue One Company of the Fire Department of New York. And here to sing "O Canada" and the Star-Spangled Banner, please welcome America's Got Talent finalist Emily West.
Through the perilous
Our starting goaltenders are brought to you by Scotiabank. You're richer than you think. Scotiabank, the only team to beat Andrew Hammond in regulation time. The New York Rangers, Hammond 8-0-2 on the road. And as mentioned, it is Lundqvist with the start for the New York Rangers. 4 straight wins, looking for his 9th 30-win season. And Ray, the Senators looking for a better start than a couple of nights ago against Pittsburgh.
Erik Karlsson was on the ice for all 3 goals in the first period, and like the rest of the Senators, it took him some time to find his legs. Had a great chance 30 seconds into period 2 and set up the game winner to Mark Stone in overtime. And nobody needs to be told the importance of the game and the importance of your best players to be at their very best at this time of the year. And the Senators will look to Karlsson and Mark Stone and Kyle Turris and of course Andrew Hammond as they look to push this miraculous run 1 game further.
Wes McCauley, Justin St. Pierre, the referee, Scott Driscoll, Derek Amell on the lines, and away we go as the puck is sent down into the Rangers zone. Ryan McDonough up against his old collegiate teammate Kyle Turris. As they scrum along the boards, Karlsson is moved up, Turris is dumped. Rangers play for the line, Stone covering, and that's steered aside by Lundqvist. JT Miller on that right wing. Played inside the line, Mark Methot is there, and it's up off Turris into the Senator bench. Tonight's keys to the game are brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of the NHL.
We heard Mark Methot earlier talking to Brent Wallace about the need to start on time, and for the Senators it's paramount. The Rangers are an excellent team playing from the lead, and for New York, Alain Vigneault's team just had the President's Trophy presented to them. It's to play to win. You can't think about trying to stay healthy or try to play the game carefully. It just doesn't work like that. Play the game to win. Get your game sharp for the playoffs.
There's Mike Hoffman, who had the game-tying goal against Pittsburgh. Sent around, Greiba trying to seal the wall, backed up by Ryan, who whistles a shot wide of the net. Hoffman after it there on the far side. Moving up was Borowiecki, but now he has to backtrack. Away goes big Kevin Hayes, who had a couple of assists in the 5-1 win 2 weeks ago. Playing on the line with St. Louis, who's knocked down. There's Chris Summers, who's into the lineup for Mark Stahl, sending it wide of the net. It'll be Hayes dropping it off. Carl Hagelin trying to tuck it in short side, and that hits the side of the net. Hagelin with an overtime winner against Ottawa in the first of these 3 meetings this season. Here's Hagelin again, unable to get a shot off from close range, and the Rangers set up in the Ottawa zone and now chipped out to center ice. They want to change as Ryan will dispatch it down into New York ice.
Ryan Bourque, number 25 for the Rangers, makes his NHL debut. The son of Hall of Famer Raymond Bourque is now an NHLer. Congratulations to him.
Nice start for him, number 25. There he is. Looks a little like Dad.
He looks a lot like Dad.
Yes,
he plays down in Hartford in the American Hockey League with his brother Chris. He was telling me this morning he actually lives with him. They just had a new baby, Chris and his wife. He said the house is a little bit crazy, but it's been a real treat to play alongside his brother, and he's waited a long time for his first NHL game. Dad's here along with Mom, and they get a chance to watch their son make his NHL debut.
Playing on the line with Jesper Fast and Dominic Moore. As nice outlet there by Pajot. Back on the line with Curtis Lazar and Eric Condra after he flipped spots with Mika Zibanejad in a matchup situation against Evgeny Malkin on Tuesday night. Rangers making a change as Broussard comes over the boards and the puck finds him. Derek Broussard without his line mate Rick Nash tonight. Zuccarello also out for New York. And Mark Stahl. There's Broussard deep in Ottawa territory. Along the boards, Broussard trying to come away with the puck. He's centering a line with Tanner Glass and James Shepard.
He's probably the guy most affected by the forwards sitting out for the Rangers. His regular line mates, Matt Zuccarello and 42-goal scorer Rick Nash.
Here's Shepard turning back, the former Cape Breton Screaming Eagle. Dan Boyle, who scored the game-winning goal against his hometown team 2 weeks ago. Chris Kreider had a huge first period in that game. on the ice with the puck now. He had a pair of goals as the Rangers built a 3-1 first period lead. Wraparound attempt here, loose in front, and Hammond down to make a stop. It'll come back to the point. Girardi trying to sift it through. That was knocked down. Good play there by Clark MacArthur. The block shot and the diagonal shoot in. Stone goes after it, chipped away from him into the skeet to Carlson, holds it in, finds MacArthur, and his shot broken up by McDonough. Now it's Turris centering it right onto the stick of Kreider, and big Chris Kreider will send it rink wide. JT Miller loose on the right side, but Borowiecki comes across and takes it back for Ottawa. Pass off the stick of Stone, it'll be held in. Kevin Hayes a shot, and Hammond stops that. Eric Gryba lost it to Hedlund. Rangers with good zone time, and Hunwick firing it off the logo of Andrew Hammond. Rangers getting the first good chances in the opening 4 minutes. Now it's Big Hayes again, trying to center, doesn't work against Turris. Up high for Hunwick. He'll chip it low, plays the ricochet to the side of the net. And now Stone off the glass, up over Hunwick. And back down into the Ranger zone.
Maybe not surprisingly, Kevin Hayes in the middle of these early chances for the Rangers. Much the same as Mark Stone, the rookie has had a fantastic second part to the season. A Chicago Blackhawks draft pick who became an unrestricted free agent, not signing out of college. He signed as a UFA with the Rangers. 2 chances for the Rangers, both of them from below the goal line. Derek Stepan takes the wraparound. Andrew Hammond has to be sharp. And then later, Hayes made virtually the same play. Hammond stopped that, and then this stop on Hunwick.
Rangers have 6 of the first 7 shots in the opening 4.5 minutes. Puck back to the point. McDonough able to hold it in. Sent it into the corner. Along the boards, it's flipped by Fast. Here's young Ryan Bourque playing it to McDonough. He'll move down low, tries to center, denied by Wiercott. Good to see Patrick Wiercott in the lineup here tonight, along with Borowiecki, after both defensemen were injured and left the game temporarily on Tuesday against Pittsburgh. Got back into the game, but you always wonder after the adrenaline wears off whether or not they'll tighten up and be unable to go.
Sometimes it's whether you just get lucky or not, and for Wiercott, he was a little bit on the limp yesterday, but said he felt pretty good the morning skate. Good to go certainly tonight.
James Shepard sends it in. Tanner Glass after it. Into the lengthy scoring drought against Ottawa. That shot whistles wide with Glass on the doorstep. Glass tied up by Carlson, goes after it. Rangers come up with it. They'll feed the point, and it'll be sent back along the boards. Now into the slot. And Shepard can't get the shot away as he was checked by Carlson. James Shepard acquired at the trade deadline from San Jose. He's playoff bound. His old team is not. Now the Rangers hustle back in. A shot sent wide. Fast on it. That's Bourque working the corner. Sent back to the point. Keith Yandel with a move on Chiasson. Shot by Hunwick. And a glove save by Hammond, who's been the busiest guy on the ice so far. 7 saves in the opening 7 minutes. Canadian Tire Senators Hockey on TSN is brought to you by Toyota Red Tag Days. Hurry into your local Toyota dealer for great offers on many 2015 models. Best 2 teams in 2015 colliding here in the Big Apple tonight. No scores, 6-18 in. The shot 7-1 in favor of New York. David Legwand on the draw, wins the faceoff for the Senators. Out was Chiasson and Zach Smith. Legwand back in his own zone. There's Borowiecki playing it on the left wing. Smith taps it out to center. Senators came back from 3 down against Pittsburgh. One of 3 teams to come back twice from 3 down this year. Here's Yandel trying to set it up in front. Keith Yandel has 10 points in his last 10 games, and another one of the reasons the Rangers are so highly regarded going into the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, once they get Kevin Klein back, who has had just a fantastic year, out with a broken arm. They feel he'll be ready for game one. And then you put Mark Stahl back on the blue line. Their third pair becomes Keith Yandel and Dan Boyle. It's a pretty good third pair.
Here's Turris flipping it ahead. MacArthur onto it. Tried to get the shot away. Knocked away from him and sent back to the Ottawa line. Mark McFadden dished out 8 hits in the game against Pittsburgh. In fact, the Senators out-hit the Penguins 39-16 in that game as they took over from about the midway mark on.
He played a lot of the hockey game against Sidney Crosby. He gave Crosby a rough ride several times, and it's the way Mafat can be a difference maker for the Senators.
Sent to the point, and it gets past Girardi and down, and Mark Stone strides after it. Up against Ryan McDonough. Stone with his first 2-goal game, including the winner in overtime. Turris comes up with the puck, feeds the point. Karlsson across. It'll be Wiercauch rolling it in front, and bouncing puck fielded and held by Lundqvist.
First time the Senators have got in on the forecheck and created some chance off the play. Turris goes to the point, and Wiercauch going to get the puck to the front of the net, and it deflects off of Stone. 61 points for number 61, and has had just a marvelous season since the 1st of January.
On a 7-game point streak, his second 7-game point streak of the season, and matches the rookie totals of a guy named Alfredsson after that winning goal the other night.
Mark MacArthur was talking to us this morning about what a good passer Stone is, and the more you talk to people about Stone, the more you realize how deep his attributes are.
There's Zibanejad sending it in front. That went off a stick. Hoffman moves up. Hoffman with 6 shots on goal in the game on Tuesday from the corner. Gets it to Ryan. Hooked it in front, but Rangers there, but a penalty upcoming as Zibanejad was hooked, and the first power play of the night will go to the Senators.
Back-to-back shifts in the New York zone. We talked about the need to get after the Ranger defense, as it's without Mark Stahl and Klein is just not as good as it normally would be. And so this is the Turris line followed by the Zibanejad line. Good zone pressure, 1 scoring chance, and now a power play created. And the Senators will get the game's first power play against one of the league's best penalty-killing teams.
Senators went 0 for 6 in that last meeting against the Rangers, including an extended 5-on-3. Looking to break through here tonight with the first power play of the game. MacArthur, Turris, and Stone head into the Rangers zone. A right wing pass for Stone into the slot. MacArthur will play it back. Here's Karlsson to the middle, and now across to Wiercauch. Patrick Wiercauch in deep. In behind the net, chips it for Turris. Being watched by Carl Hagelin. Rangers bounce it ahead, and it rolls to center. Karlsson with 30 power play points. Clark MacArthur sends it in off the stick of Lundqvist. Chance for Girardi. He'll get it duped onto the right side for Hagelin. Looks ahead, and it'll be played by McDonough deep into Ottawa territory. First minute of the St. Louis penalty's done. Now Zibanejad to work over the line with Ryan, as Ryan tries to bump that slump. Here's Ryan with the puck. Back to Karlsson. He'll send it across. Hoffman, little stutter step there. Karlsson moves into his spot. Ryan's up high now. Back to Hoffman and Karlsson. Here's the slot pass, deflected and hit traffic in front. I think they hit David Legwand.
Lundqvist didn't get a look at it. He was searching to his left. The puck went to his right.
Now Hoffman at the controls. 20 seconds to go. Pass not fielded cleanly by Ryan. He'll hit off. And it's last call on the first power play of the night.
We're 10.5 minutes in here. The Senators haven't had a very good start. Couple of completed passes, you start to get your feet underneath you, but this power play has not been dangerous at all.
Did not register a shot with St. Louis in the box for 2 minutes. Sent into the zone, Pajot after it, knocked away by Lundqvist. Rangers with a sharp outlet pass to Shepherd. At center was St. Louis. Gene Shepherd curls it across. And Brassard's shot blocked in front as Cody Ceci was in the lane.
It's a good thing he was. Marty St. Louis somehow became totally unattended to the left side of Andrew Hammond.
And St. Louis back off injury has been getting stride once again. 3 goals in his last 5 games. There's Lazar, who scored the lone goal for Ottawa in their last meeting against the Rangers. Works the boards along with Pajot. Trying to dig it out of there. Now Condra in pursuit of the puck. Tying up Hunwick. Lazar rides again. They get it loose for Pajot. Can't feed the point against JT Miller. Now back for Bietzky. A shot, and that sails wide. Rangers ship it ahead. JT Miller stopped up at center by Gryba. Eric Gryba and Bietzky get things organized. Pass up ahead off Chiasson, and in deep. Legwand arrives first. And the Rangers send it back to center. 8 minutes left, first period. Shot 7-2 in favor of the home side. Keith Yandel across the ice. Now the Rangers advance, but a pass cut off by Carlson. Quick counter here. Dropped for Legwand. Shot right on. Steered away by Lundqvist.
Really good read by Carlson. He stayed up in the play, picked off the cross-ice pass, and gets the puck to Legwand for a chance.
Now McLeod. Turris gathers speed into the Rangers zone. In for Stone, knocked away. And New York turns with speed. Here comes Foss, dropping for Dominic Moore. Moore with 3 goals in his last 4 games. Fourth line center, been productive of late. Tracked by McLeod. He'll swing it back into the corner. Jesper Fast is there, and now young Ryan Bourque plays to the point. Here's Summers' a shot, and that's blocked en route by Clark MacArthur. A couple of shot blocks for MacArthur here in the opening period. Now the speedy Carl Hagelin. His pass knocked down by Hoffman. Chips it in, and Zibanejad goes after it. Zibanejad lauded for his work in a defensive capacity against Evgeny Malkin. Played the power forward game well on Tuesday night. Back in the middle of Ryan and Hoffman. Hoffman with some work off the boards. Dangling against Hagelin. Now he'll swing it toward the net. Ricochets to Ceci. And Lundqvist gets a piece of that. Cody Ceci missed Hoffman. Finds Weirkon. Shot! Scores! And it's being waved off. Contact on the goaltender.
Immediately waved off. Justin St. Pierre is the official down by the net. I think Henrik Lundqvist is hurt here on the play as well. Jim Ramsey, the trainer, is running out to take a look at Lundqvist, who had missed 25 games with a neck injury as a shot had hit him in the throat. Lundqvist is in some discomfort here. There's the shot. You see Zibanejad's right on the tip of the crease. He's trying to establish position. It looks like he never sets balance, and he's stumbling backwards. Ooh, you see he falls directly on the left knee of Lundqvist.
Well, they start the chant for Henrik Lundqvist, and he'll try and shake it off as we come back. Well, the debate continues here, Ray. Dave Cameron and Justin St. Pierre. Erik Karlsson watched your monitor and thought it should have counted.
I think when you look at the overhead view, this is probably the cleanest look. From this view, it looks like there's a question to it, but when you look at the overhead view, you're going to see Zibanejad come in here. He's not really bumped. He's made contact with Lundqvist before the puck gets there. And you know what, Chris? That's a really good example of... Many people think that adding instant replay is going to clarify everything. You can look at that, and I can guarantee you 20 people are going to think it's goalie interference, and some are not going to think it's interference. Now, I don't think it should be a penalty. I think it should be disallowed goal, but Zibanejad's in the box.
Yes, he is. The Rangers get their first power play to add insult to injury. Here's a chance in front, and the Senators able to clear it to Stepan. Couldn't get the shot away.
Chris, I think that should be the call, that it's incidental contact with the goaltender, and you don't necessarily call a penalty, you just wave the goal off.
I wonder if the fact Lundqvist was shaken up on the play led to the penalty call as it's bounced down on the King.
And this is a real weak spot for the Rangers, whether Rick Nash is in the lineup or not, or Matt Zuccarello's in the lineup or not. The Rangers power play is 21st, and they were 1 for 7 against New Jersey. They really have never found their groove with the man advantage.
4 of their last 46. McDonough slaps that wide of the net, comes back to the point. Yandel twists and turns. Returns to McDonough. Into the high slot. Hayes, good shot, and the pad stopped as Hammond kicked out the right leg. Hayes holds the zone. Defers to McDonough. Ryan McDonough down low. Shot. As they were looking for the tip in front. J.G. Miller in front, unable to redirect. Back to McDonough. Under duress, and Yandel has it hop on him out to center. Couple dozen seconds remaining in this power play. You mentioned 21st, actually tied with the Ottawa Senators for the exact same percentage at 16.8. Pass broken up, and now Carlson away. Here comes Erik Karlsson on a 3-on-2. Pajot fakes and then held too long, comes back, and the shot doesn't get through. 2 shots on the power play for the Rangers as Zibanejad returns to the ice. So still scoreless, disallowed goal for Ottawa. And each team 0 for 1 on the power play with 4 minutes to go here in the opening period. Pajot for Karlsson.
Really good kill for the Senators, and the last couple of minutes started to see some signs of their legs getting back under them, more aggressive up on their toes. So a little bit of zone time against the Rangers as well.
And a puck deflecting up onto the netting and out of play. And it's another timeout here in New York as the goaltenders pitching a shutout so far. Shots 9-5, New York. Just prior to the game, the presentation of the President's Trophy. Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly on hand to give it to the captain, Ryan McDonough, here in the final home game. Not sure about the superstition. You allowed to touch that trophy, Ray?
Oh, I don't know how that possibly can make a difference one way or the other.
Alain Vigneault in pretty good company. In fact, 3rd President's Trophy in 5 years for him. The only other coach to do that, a guy by the name of Bowman.
I'll tell you how much that trophy means to the players, though. A New York writer was asking a few of them what the trophy looked like, and one of the players was surprised there was an actual trophy. He thought it was more just a concept, which I just find astounding.
Well, they got 52 wins, matching the last time they won the President's Trophy, which was 93-94. Here's Dominic Moore trying to twist his way in front. Gorbietsky lost his stick. A shot goes wide. Dan Boyle, the former Gloucester Ranger, feeding it to Bourque in front, and that shot by Fast is blocked, but Ranger pressure continues. Now Bobby Ryan knocks it down, and he heads back for Ottawa. Ryan in deep, bad angle shot into the glove of Lundqvist.
Henrik Lundqvist with 29 wins on the season, the only goalie in NHL history to have 20-plus wins in his first 10 seasons in the league. Late in January, he gets hit with this shot where Ryan McDonough's stick pushes his mask up. Lundqvist missed 25 games. He said the first game in his return felt like a preseason game. He was exhausted, and each game he seemed to be a little bit better as he tries to regain his form before the playoffs, but Cam Talbot did a fantastic job in his stead.
Talbot 16-4-3 in the absence of Henrik Lundqvist. Maybe the most unusual injury of the year, a broken blood vessel or a sprained blood vessel. It's been classified a couple of different ways. Here comes Karlsson into the zone. He lost it, chipped away, and he's unable to catch up to it as Mark Mathot comes across. Up to Karlsson, now Stone, checked at center. Turnover, and Hayes back in. Unable to connect with Hagelin. Hagelin pounds Mathot, but the Senators able to chip it out. Hayes and down into the Ottawa zone. 2:02 left here in the opening frame. Zach Smith, he can't get it out. Now from his knees, tries to redirect it out of the zone. Wiercioch will try the near side. And James Shepherd on it first for New York. Smith takes a look. Now gets it out. That one will bounce down past Lundqvist. And an icing call against the Senators.
It's pretty evident, even without the players in the lineup, the Rangers' strength of their team. It starts in goal with Henrik Lundqvist. They have a mobile defense, and they're really aggressive on the forecheck. And one thing Alain Vigneault wants to have is a four-line game, but they haven't had it most of the year. And maybe if there's one player that's stepped to prominence for them, it's JT Miller, who has played more minutes and more effective minutes, and by getting him up the lineup, that allows Jesper Fast to play on the fourth line with Dominic Moore. Last year when the Rangers went to the Stanley Cup final, it was Dominic Moore and Brian Boyle and Derek Dorsett. That was an excellent fourth line for them.
Smith unable to get loose inside the zone, and they're going to call it offside at the Ranger line with 92 seconds remaining in the first period. And when they met 2 weeks ago, it was 3-1 after one, and the Rangers were well on their way. A different story here tonight. Not a great start, Ray, but certainly they have not dug themselves a hole like they have in recent games early.
No, that would be the most positive part of this period. It hasn't been a great start, but the Rangers have had a good first period. Now they can get this in after in the next 90 seconds here and really look to pick up their pace at the beginning of the second period like they did against the Penguins.
Now step onto the right side for Miller. Wiercioch watching him. JT Miller off the wall. Big Kreider sets up at the side of the net. Step on fanned on the pass. And an outlet from Lazar. Condra will chip it down past Yandel. And chase after it. Matt Hunwick in the corner. And now Pajot arrives. Final minute. Opening period. Pajot tries to center. He was looking for Lazar. And Kreider broke that up. Miller sends it back into the Ottawa zone. Cody Ceci was -3 in that last meeting against the Rangers. Starts the play, and now Hoffman moves back. Up for Zibanejad. Ryan has it knocked away from him as McDonough was watching him closely. Ceci around to the far side. Borowiecki too far for Ryan. And this is going to be an icing call with 24.7 on the clock.
Borowiecki, as well as Wiercioch, was banged up in that last game and was able to stay in the game. He's been battered around the last month or so, but gives such premium minutes to the Senators. Kevin Hayes was telling me this morning one thing he knows after his first year in the league that has to be way better is his face-offs. Zibanejad just cleaned him out there.
Zibanejad with a shot wide of the net. Ryan goes after it, played it back, and nobody there. Gryba back inside his line as the clock cranes here in the opening period. Pass for Ryan, broken up, and that's going to do it. Shots on goal, 9-6 in favor of New York. Senators beat Lundqvist once, but the goal disallowed. Both teams 0 for 1 on the power play through 20 minutes. We are scoreless as we head back to Darren Detition.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate that. Still to come in this first intermission, the Sens thought they were on the board. The Rangers, they liked the call. Meanwhile, we're going to update the playoff race. It is a busy, very busy night in the National Hockey League. You're watching Canadian Tire Center of Hockey on TSN.
Our first period scoring summary brought to you by the Metro Ford Dealers of Ottawa. No scoring in the opening frame. The shots were 9-6 in favor of the New York Rangers. Only 4 Senators registered shots on goal in the opening period, and the shot attempts were 18-12. A lot of the shot attempts, Ray, for the Rangers came from the point, and you believe that Ottawa's got to be wary of that tonight.
Well, certainly as they do their pre-scout on the Rangers, you understand how aggressively they forecheck, but what's noteworthy is they cycle the puck from low to high extremely well, and their defense are mobile. They don't stand on the blue line and shoot it. They get it, change the angle, and then get it to the net. The Senators blocked 7 shots in that period, and unless you're going to get really tight to the D, which isn't the style of defending anymore, you're going to have to get in the shooting lane. And the Senators did a really good job, in my opinion, of that, denying shots from the point. But you still have to be aware that those blue liners are going to be part of the Ranger attack.
Andrew Hammond grew up a Vancouver Canuck fan, a Kirk McLean fan. He got turned on to the game by watching the '94 Stanley Cup final. Rangers broke his heart as a young Canuck fan. Time for a little payback here at MSG in his first ever appearance here in New York. Second period starts with Erik Karlsson flipping it down in behind the Ranger goal. Lundqvist out to play it. Up onto the right side where Mathot moved in on JT Miller, and now Miller gets away. Up to McDonough over the line. Here's Ryan McDonough sending it across, and Kreider unable to reach that. Dan Girardi steps up. Cycled into the corner for Miller. Watched by MacArthur, who knocks it off his stick. Played ahead for Mark Stone. Stone with 5 goals in his last 4 games. And starting to get a little bit of Calder Trophy notoriety.
If people don't have him on their ballot, they're not watching. He's just been remarkable.
And the fact that since January 1st, he's up with John Tavares, Jamie Benn, and Alexander Ovechkin as the top scorers.
Yeah, those aren't rookies, boys and girls.
There's Zibanejad sending it in. A funny hop that came out in front. And now the Rangers will chop it out. Borowiecki at his own line. Good pass on the tape. Zibanejad. There's Ryan. Takes the shot. Lundqvist saw it late, but makes the stop. Now flipped into the air. Glove down, and Hoffman can't come up with it. It's played out, and Carl Hagelin to the attack. Here's Kevin Hayes, who had a pair of shots in that first period. Hayes with Hagelin and St. Louis. To the point, Yandel sends it around. St. Louis watched by Greiba. Back up top. Dan Boyle swings it deep. Hagelin lurking behind the Senator net. St. Louis up high again, as Ray mentioned, that low to high play, but the shot doesn't get through. And now out comes Ottawa. Both teams changing. Hunwick gets pointed in the right direction. And that one is deflected over the glass, out of play.
Urban Attitudes from Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
There's Alain Vigneault in his first year as the Rangers head coach. He went to the Stanley Cup final, now a President's Trophy championship in year 2.
I like the fact when grilled today a little bit about the fact he was not playing Nash, Zuccarello, or Stahl, that all 3 were day-to-day with injuries.
Well, there's his first lie of the postseason.
Although he didn't play Zuccarello in the last game either, with general soreness, but...
Well, I get general soreness too.
Oh, you're old.
Yes, that's a good point. There is zero truth going to be told from a coach between now and the Stanley Cup final.
And if you're good enough to take care of business before the regular season's over, you have that privilege of...
Oh, absolutely. It's exactly their right and their prerogative to rest their players. They've earned this.
And nobody in the Ottawa camp is upset about that, although the Boston Bruins might take offense. Here comes Connor over the line, and then the shot is whistled wide as Chiasson took over. Chiasson in the corner. Along the boards, tried to center it. It went off Boyle's stick and out to center. Karlsson plays it on the right wing. Legwand back in, but Smith was trapped offside.
The second period was where the Senators really started to make an impact on that game the other night against Pittsburgh. And for whatever reason, they've been slow off the mark, yet they haven't really harmed themselves too much. I guess the point against Toronto, a lot of people will point to, but they've been able to get themselves into the game, been able to get their skating legs going, and Dave Cameron wants to use 4 lines, and I would think for much of this game, both teams, you will see 4 lines roll over the bench.
Senators on a 19-3-3 run. The only other team with as good a 25-game stretch this season, the New York Rangers, who earlier this year went 19-3-3. Here's Legwand. Looks for Chiasson. Chipped off his stick. Rangers head north. Out at center. Kreider lost it. And it's rolled back in. Keith Yandle, the big trade deadline acquisition for the Rangers. Terrific pickup that gives them depth, but it was an expensive one. His pass knocked down by Turris. Here's Mark Stone on the backhand, and that's off the stick of Lundqvist. Mike MacArthur chases after, wins a board battle, but the pass out of the reach of Madoff. Look out! Waits for it, and Karlsson able to beat Derek Stepan to the puck. Now Erik Karlsson moves over the line. Rolling it towards the net. And Hunwick there for New York. Sent back in by Stone. Hunwick off the boards. Not out. Borowiecki a shot, and that went right on. May have been tipped off the stick of MacArthur. Stone comes off the wall. Mike MacArthur to the far side, bouncing on Greiba. And that puck did come out delayed offside, but the Rangers send it the length of the ice. And that's going to be an icing call against New York. Well, the Sens on TSN action continues Saturday. Final game, regular season, as they take on the Flyers. Our live coverage gets underway at noon, 1 o'clock Atlantic, here on TSN 5.
Rangers are the second worst face-off team in the league. So they're on these offensive zone face-offs. There's an opportunity perhaps for the Senators to generate a quick scoring chance.
Zibanejad, Ceci was caught leaning the wrong way. Couldn't handle the pass. Derek Brassard back into the Ottawa zone, and now Hoffman's got it. Shots 3-0 in favor of Ottawa here in what's been a relatively cautious second period. Another icing call against New York.
There's Dan Girardi. He and Ryan McDonough of the Rangers' top pair there. They're both on the ice a lot. They both kill penalties. Girardi's had another excellent season. And the Ranger captain, as his partner, Ryan McDonough, has changed his game a little bit as the Rangers want their defensemen to get the puck and move it. They skate with it a lot less, and that's been part of the adjustment for Keith Yandle as well.
St. Louis get his stick blade caught the skate of Curtis Lazar, and both guys cooperated to extricate the stick from skate. Now they go back to battle. Here's Pajot knocking it down, caused a turnover, unable to get a shot off. Lazar along the boards, and now Kevin Hayes has his stick break. Rangers get it out. He's old enough to be Lazar's dad, isn't he? Here comes Curtis over the line, sends it toward the net wide. Karlsson steps up. A couple of Senators crashed into the net. This Condra just missed on the redirect in front. Condra and Pajot both tumbled into the Ranger net. Now Carl Hagelin rolls it in. Rangers want to change. Martin LaThought looks up ice. Stretch pass out of the reach of Pajot, and that's going to be an icing call against Ottawa.
And both coaches kind of shaking their head here about the scramble start to this period. Neither team can seemingly put a couple of passes together, and 6.5 minutes have melted off the clock here without much happening.
Dave Cameron gives us a lot of other sport analogies. Usually it's baseball. Last game it was a car racing analogy. Today he was talking about bumping the Rangers off the line of scrimmage to make sure they didn't get wound up at top speed as they did to great advantage 2 weeks ago. Rangers always look quick. It looks like the Senators have been able to keep them from playing fire wagon hockey so far tonight.
But they haven't had much opportunity to complete a couple passes and support the puck and get moving. The Senators have done a really good job, actually, at taking away the middle of the ice.
And now the Senators have held the Rangers without a shot on goal, not only for this period, but for the last 12 minutes. Now Turris gets loose. Here's Turris over the line. MacArthur drives to the net. A drop pass for Stone, but he was tied up on a solid defensive play by the youngster, Ryan Bourque. Up past George. MacArthur checked. Stepan was there. MacArthur gets it back. Unable to roll it ahead, and Stepan with another try. Advancing, shooting. Kicked out by Hammond. Rebound to Miller. In for Kreider. Lets it go for Stepan behind the net. Now the Rangers set up shop in the Ottawa zone. J.T. Miller tried to play the point. Broken up by Stone. MacArthur there, and he'll get it out. 8 minutes into this second period. The shots 10-9, and another icing call against New York. Well, the 2015 MTV Movie Awards almost here, featuring an all-star cast, including Kevin Hart, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Sofia Vergara, Mark Wahlberg, and more. The MTV Awards, Sunday live at 8 Eastern.
Really important that you stay patient in a game like this where the ice is hard to come by. It's really difficult to make a play. You don't want to make a hope or a dangerous play and turn the puck over.
Hand pass called, stops play, and will step out. 8:20 into the second, awaiting the game's first goal in New York. No score here. 8:20 into the second period. The Senators have not surrendered a New York Rangers shot on goal here in the second frame. Another tight game. 5 straight have gone beyond regulation. 6 of the last 7 in this nail-biting run. The white knuckle ride continues here tonight in New York for these Ottawa Senators. Hoffman striding down the left side. He'll chip and chase. Gets into the corner, plays it to the far side for Ryan. Ryan returns it. Here's Hoffman from the corner. Cycling it back into the corner for Ryan. Bobby Ryan trying to get away from Chris Summers. Ryan behind the net. Swings in front. Zibanejad was there, but was tied up and couldn't get a shot as Mika Zibanejad was in around the blue paint again.
Chris, I love that shift from the moment Hoffman got the puck. They made 3 or 4 really safe, controlled plays with it. They were in good position, Hoffman and Ryan, to keep the cycle going below the goal line. At no time was this puck in danger. Good positioning, body control by Bobby Ryan. It finally throws it to the front where Boyle and Zibanejad are battling for position. But prior to this, Hoffman had stolen the puck in the defensive zone, protected it, didn't throw it dangerously into the slot, and out of all that work, the Senators end up with a near scoring chance.
A sign of maturity, eh?
It really is, because a young player wants to make something happen every shift. The older player probably realizes that there's some shifts nothing's going to happen.
Eric Condra causes a turnover. Yandel chipping it ahead. Carl Hagelin off the boards and out to center ice. LaClotte plays it there, and Pajot picks it up, looking for his first road goal of the year. And the short-handed goal against Pittsburgh to get the comeback kick-started. Now pass for St. Louis out of his reach. And back out to center.
Now Kevin Hayes is every bit as impressive as Mark Stone would be from an Ottawa perspective. These two young guys have great futures in front of them.
Here's Hayes back in on the attack. It'll be played back to the point. Hundrick a blast, and that went wide. Carlson will take the puck, played along the boards, but not out. Got it again. This time a good outlet to Pajot, a bank pass. And into the Ranger zone goes Condra as his line mates make changes. Condra gets it to Legwand. David Legwand feeds the point. Borowiecki sends it around behind the net. Chiasson on the prowl, comes out, and a shot deflecting high. Back to Eric Gryba. Here's Gryba's shot, and that missed the target through a screen. Chiasson after it. Legwand comes up with it. Pressure here by the Senator fourth line. Borowiecki can't get it through. It'll be gloved forward, and Hagelin will get it out.
This looks a little bit like the other night where the Penguins started to have difficulty getting to the puck. The Senators' speed started to control much of the game, and eventually they were able to punch through. The Rangers haven't been down in the Senators' end at all this period.
Strong play by Borowiecki as he moved in deep, knocked down Hunwick. Now Zach Smith trying to hook up with Turris. That doesn't work. Chiasson's on it again. Runs into Hunwick. Ryan Bourque there to take it away. And the newest Ranger plays it ahead. Dominic Moore trying to get around Weirkot. Ceci came across. Moore's got it again. And that pass for Kreider off a stick and doesn't reach the intended target. Girardi moves up. The Welland, Ontario native. Chris Kreider on the far side. Swings it back. Rangers on it, but lose it. And Ceci banks it out to center. Just one Ranger shot here in the second. Shots are even at 10 apiece. And we're past the midway mark of the game. That pass to the point. They say it didn't come out, and a glove stop by Hammond to hold on. Still awaiting the icebreaker in Manhattan. Join hosts Ian Mendez and Gordon Wilson after every home game for All Access. Presented by Bell, live on the Sens website and mobile app.
Gee, people walk fast here.
And there's lots of them.
Walking over here is a little bit of a chore, isn't it? What a city, though.
Great to be here. The players talk about how energized they get being here. Mark Stone's first game in the NHL was a Stanley Cup playoff game here. And could this be a first round Stanley Cup playoff preview? As daunting a task as that would be, the Senators certainly would like to sign up for it. Stone back in his own zone. Along the boards, Rangers pounce on the puck. It comes to Miller, shot, and Hammond covers the short side. Come back to Kreider, feeds the point. Here comes a shot that's tipped wide of the goal. Big Kreider again, centering pass, broken up by Turris. And alley-oop out to center. Turris picked it off at the line. That's onside. Stone, a hot shot. And that's fought off by Lundqvist. Good stop by Henrik Lundqvist on maybe the best chance. A centering pass there. And that went off McDonough, and the Rangers are out. Mark Stone with the best chance of this second period. Now Miller trying to sift it through. Kept in at the line by Boyle. Off the skate of Stepan. Miller sets up in front. Stepan cycling it for Kreider behind the net. There's Boyle moving up off the side of the net. And Stone takes over for the Senators. Little move in front of the net, and now up to Turris. They want to change, and Turris will get it inside the line to get that change going. Hammond out to play it. In a little trouble. And Hoffman comes back to help out. Derek Brassard trying to take it away. Brassard sitting on 99 NHL goals. Comes back to Boyle. In around, out of the reach of Tanner Glass. Summers moves up. Glass buffeted along the boards by Ceci. It'll come back to Glass, and he shot it wide. Ricochets to Boyle. Now the Rangers buzzing, and a shot off a leg wide. Boyle gets on it. In behind the net. Centering pass by Brassard is denied. Weirkot stopped that. Zibanejad is hit. Now it's St. Louis. A push by the Rangers. Here comes the shot, and Yandel has it blocked in front. Good block by Cody Ceci. Now Ceci watching Brassard, who swings it back to the near side. Boyle moves up, and the Senators getting worn down on this shift. James Shepard played it for Hayes as the Rangers in the midst of a change. Fresh troops have arrived, but Weirkot strips the puck away and gets it out to center.
That's 5 fresh Rangers on the ice. The Senators are gassed at the end of a shift.
Can they get it out to get a change? Zibanejad unable to control along the wall. Banked out by Hoffman, but again, not deep enough to get a change. Zibanejad's reached the bench, so there's one. And CC breaks that pass up, trying to get it out, and it does come out to center.
There's nothing wrong with icing the puck here. You can take your time out if need be.
Back in comes Hayes, trying to spin off the checking of Pajot. Lazar in as they've got change going, but we've got a penalty upcoming. With 4:54 remaining here in the second.
Dave Cameron Senators are going to be shorthanded. Too many men on the ice. You see Mike Hoffman sitting right in front of Cameron. Hoffman was one of the forwards in the middle of the ice changing. Now Bobby Ryan has gone to the red line and turned around. He stayed on the ice. You see the two Senator forwards jumping onto the ice. With the 4 in the zone, the 2 coming in. There's 6. And now the Senators are shorthanded in a 0-0 game.
So that all resulting after an extended shift in the Senator zone. Now Dave Cameron's team needs a big penalty kill with 4:54 left in the second period, and a face-off won by the Rangers. Yandel and McDonough at the points. Stepan, Kreider, St. Louis up front, and St. Louis a one-timer right on.
He's the only real shooter on this power play. Both McDonough and Yandel do not have the big heavy slapper from the point, so you'll look to St. Louis for the one-timer or Kreider right in front of the net as the most dangerous Rangers.
Kreider has 7 power play goals. St. Louis has 5, and he's back in. There's Stepan, who's the playmaker. Tied up along the boards. It'll bounce back to Yandel under duress. Gets it to St. Louis. Back to Yandel, and the puck comes out. So they'll have to reboot out at center.
Good work by Eric Condra,
who's had a terrific year in that department. Now St. Louis, and big reach by Eric Greiba to deny that rink-wide pass and send the Rangers back.
Another area, of course, you're going to miss Rick Nash is on the power play.
Here's Broussard dropping it off. McDonough had it go past him, and they'll have to recalculate at center with 45 seconds remaining in the bench minor. So the Senators, and that puck out of play. So down to 38 seconds to go, and just that one St. Louis shot registered so far.
Really good stick by Eric Greiba, known, of course, for his ability to clean out the front of the net, but he's in good position. And St. Louis is going to try and go across the seam to Stepan, but Greiba reads the play and reaches out to stop the pass and is able to clear the zone.
Legwand and Condra out on the kill as the Rangers gain access to the zone. Broussard drops to the point. Here's the shot, the tip by Miller. Wanted it in front again, and it got past Broussard, and the Senators able to clear. Last called, second power play, New York. Dan Boyle at the wheel. Here comes the Ottawa native, dishing to the left side. Hayes had trouble with the pass. CC rolled it ahead. Rangers get it back. One-time pass across. Hammond in trouble. And he makes the stop. Hayes had Hammond down.
Oh my, he had him down
And out.
and Hammond somehow stayed in the play. Hayes couldn't pull the trigger initially, and that gave Hammond an opportunity to get back into play. Watch, he goes down, he falls there, now he's backwards and still makes the stop. There used to be a goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers, Doug Favell, and they described him as a bowl full of Jell-O without the bowl, and that's what Andrew Hammond looked like there.
Yes, he was jiggling a bit. Wow.
Whoa, he stayed with the play and robs Kevin Hayes with a most unorthodox stop.
And the penalty done. Senators back at full strength. Mark Stone behind the net. Gonna come out in front. Scores! Clark MacArthur. Mark Stone the feed. And the icebreaker to the Senators.
We'll put those 30 seconds in the book. Hammond save where Hayes has him out and can't finish. And then Clark MacArthur takes the pass from Mark Stone, MacArthur was telling us this morning what a good passer Stone is. So they attack the zone, Turris gets the puck in, good puck support here, MacArthur to Stone, and then Stone will spin off of Ryan McDonagh. That leads Dan Girardi to come low to take the pass away. Perfect position, and Clark MacArthur beats Henrik Lundqvist, and the Senators are on the board.
Ray, number 16, has his 16th of the year, and the Senators have the lead, and here comes Hoffman. Hoffman, a backhand that goes off a Ranger in behind the net. That line has now generated 11 goals in the last 7.5 games. They have set the pace. Here's Karlsson coming off, walking in, and stopped by his countryman, Henrik Lundqvist. What a chance there for Karlsson to double up the lead. Karlsson strides back into his own zone, quickly moves it to Wiercioch. He'll play it to an open wing. Time of the goal for Ottawa, 17:31. And here comes Karlsson back in. Lundqvist unable to stop it up. Pajot hit the side of the net, centered again. And the Rangers dodge one there. Stone and Turris draw assists on the goal at 17:31.
Oh, Erik Karlsson shaking his head here. He was just telling Mark Methot that he had him. The pass is a clean one across the slot, and Karlsson's going to walk in. He wants to go 5-hole on Lundqvist, and the shot rattles around in the feet of Lundqvist. There's the shot. Karlsson is not going to get much better chance than that. Lundqvist's able to fight off that chance. That's a big stop for Lundqvist to keep the game at 1-0.
Last defenseman to back-to-back 20-goal seasons. Oh, it's in! It's in off Lundqvist! A bouncing deflection! And Kyle Turris, I believe, has the goal for Ottawa.
It is Turris. We talked earlier about how the Rangers are not a very good face-off team. Kevin Hayes this morning was telling me that's one focus point for him for this summer. He's going to lose the draw here to Turris, and Greiba's just going to take it a step and shoot it to the net. And it's Turris's deflection. It bounces once, twice, and in the net. And the Senators quickly, with 2 goals late in the second period, have taken a stranglehold on this game.
24th of the year for Turris. The goals come 64 seconds apart. And MSG's gone silent.
Well, what a stunning turn. Moments after this Hammond save on Kevin Hayes, the Senators score 2 quick ones and lead by 2.
And it's the line that has been setting the tone for much of this 19-3-3 run. Well, since Clark MacArthur came back the last 7 games, to be sure. First MacArthur, now Turris, and now the Rangers try to answer, and Stone blocks the shot. Mark Stone with a play down the ice right on Lundqvist to avoid the icing. So add another subtle play to Stone's arsenal as he blocks a key shot in the final minute. Kreider across, one-timer goes wide, and you're right, Ray. Kevin Hayes had that chance with Andrew Hammond scrambling in his net. And about a minute later, it's 2-0 Ottawa. Here's Ryan Bourque scampering in. He'll send it around behind the net with a couple of dozen seconds to go here in period number 2. Up with it, Lazar. Ottawa furiously trying to get it out, but unable to clear the zone yet. Borowiecki back. Rattles it off the glass, pulled in at the line. They'll try it one more time. Greiba's got a breakaway pass. Erik Condra, he alone, and he rolled it wide. Oh, what a chance in the dying seconds to make it 3-0 as Condra was sent in alone.
What a pass off the wall by Lazar. Condra's out clear, and Lundqvist stays with him. The puck slides off the backhand of Erik Condra. And after 2 periods, that miss aside, the Senators with a 2-goal lead.
Shots were 8-5 in the second period in favor of Ottawa. MacArthur and Turris in a 64-second span, 2-0 as we rejoin Dutch. Our second period scoring summary is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And that 64-second goal scoring by the Senators' top line. MacArthur with his 16th, and then when we watched it carefully during the break, may have hit MacArthur's stick and then Turris on the double deflection for the second Senator goal. So 2-0 after 2, and Ray, no surprise, that top line of Turris, MacArthur, and Stone keep getting it done.
It's been a long time since that line hasn't made a major impact on any of the game for the Senators. And even in the first period when things weren't so great, defensively, the Senators did the job. It was MacArthur with a block shot, Turris with a tipped puck to deflect the scoring chance. Then in the second period, they start getting going. Turris finds Stone for a chance, then Stone finds MacArthur, and the ice is broken. And after Turris cleans out Kevin Hayes on a face-off, Greiba's point shot is tipped by MacArthur, and Turris gets a second blade on it. It bounces past Henrik Lundqvist, and the Senators are 20 minutes away from pushing this to the last day of the season.
You mentioned Kevin Hayes, wary of his face-off proficiency. 1 win in 7. There's another face-off win by Turris. The Senators had won 59% of the draws through 40 minutes. So a critical third as Ottawa tries to ensure they get to Philadelphia with a chance of claiming a postseason berth. But a lot of work to be done against the top team in the NHL here on Ranger ice in the third period. Here's McDonough, a shot kicked aside by Hammond. Turris will bank it off the boards and out to center, and MacArthur goes after it. Spent some time with the official scorers who took a long look at that second goal. Weren't sure or not whether MacArthur was in on a double deflection, but give him an assist on the play. So MacArthur has a pair of points in this 2-0 Ottawa lead. In behind the goal for Greiba, who draws an assist on that second goal, and away goes Zibanejad, banking it to the Ranger line. So they're just making the addition of the assist to MacArthur on the second Ottawa goal from Greiba, as Kyle Turris has 24 on the season. Here's Dan Boyle shooting it off a body wide of the net. Boyle moving up, and the Rangers defense will activate. There's a shot and a glove stop by Hammond here early in the third.
So there is the Senators' top line, Turris, MacArthur, and Stone. There's the shot by Greiba. Tipped once, and the second time by MacArthur, then Turris, and the Greiba point shot. He's just looking to get it to the front of the net. You can see clearly the second tip by Turris.
There's Hunwick moving in, so already in the opening 100 seconds, a lot of activity from the Rangers blue line. Hunwick holds the zone after that hot shot whistled wide by St. Louis. Here's a pass back to the point. Another shot on Hammond as the Rangers have a push going here early in the third.
So Alain Vigneault has flip-flopped his wingers. He has Fast and Bourque now with Brassard. Bourque had a really effective first period. Fast has been an energetic forward for the Rangers all season long. So they try to find some offense.
Here comes Big Gene Shepherd. Into the zone, puts on the brakes, looks back, and it gets past Summers all the way back into the Ranger zone. New York with the first 4 shots of this third period. Chris Summers, the former Arizona Coyote, turned back. Rangers get organized. Summers moves it ahead. Now it's Boyle under duress as Stone turns him back. Mark Stone has 4 shots on goal in the game. And the assist on the opening goal for Ottawa. Turris ahead, looking for Stone. He'll pivot at center, moves it in, shoots wide of the goal. And it's played back out by Shepherd. Mark the thought for Erik Karlsson. Steers it in. MacArthur in on the forecheck against Hunwick. Stepan helping out for New York. An outlet pass. Yandel had it knocked down by Stone, but Kreider continues on, and an eye-high glove stop by Andrew Hammond.
To access your coupons for exclusive savings at participating Canadian Tire locations, visit ottawasenators.com/sendsave.
Andrew Hammond's really only had to be steady tonight. He made the one miraculous save when he tripped on Kevin Hayes, but for the most part, the saves have been pretty one-dimensional for him. He's been really solid, and 18 of them so far.
5 goals on 22 shots in his first meeting against New York. That's gloved and held by Lundqvist at the top of the Ranger net.
Henrik Lundqvist is wearing a mask tonight. He has a TV show here called The Mask, and he has worn 6 different masks this year. This one is to recognize the New York Fire Department, and so he wears a mask and then wears it in the game. There he is with Company 1 of the New York Fire Department. He's at various sporting figures as well that he wears a mask, and they auction them for charity.
Here's Ryan McDonagh over to Kreider on the far side. Kreider hooks the pass through for JT Miller. Miller centers, and Stepan unable to take the pass. It gets off the glove of Girardi, and he's got to scamper back in a hurry to beat Zibanejad to the puck. Rangers have some jump, though, here in the third. Steered to the side by Hammond. Greiba after it there, but forechecking. Greiba able to recollect the puck and move it ahead. Good pass to Pajot. Lazar was well covered on the play. Now Jesper Fast sidesteps a check. Over to Hunwick, and that's off the board tonight. Glove down, and now played ahead by Bourque over the line. Brassard a shot, and the rebound Foss whipped on. Another stop for Hammond. Puck fired into the corner. Rangers get on it first. Weirkosh takes his man out. Puck played ahead. Hunwick seals the wall. Foss gets it to Shepard, and that shot from a bad angle is deflected up onto the netting. A dangerous shot by James Shepard. Rangers with a push.
Really a sharp angle delivery from Shepard, and Hammond is playing this with his body flat in the net as he's looking for something to the front of the net. I think this hits the crossbar and ends up deflecting out of play. There's the shot. You see Hammond flat to the front of the net as he's expecting that to go to Brassard, which would be the more dangerous play.
Legwand controlled the face-off. Mathot sends it in. Chiasson along the boards. He gets tied up but continues to battle. Loose for Legwand. At the point, Carlson across Mathot. He'll play the ricochet to the side of the net. And it's swung out in front. Legwand unable to convert the Zach Smith pass. Back the other way goes Tanner Glass. And that shot into the glove of Hammond. He'll hold on once again. 5 minutes and 26 seconds into the third. And the shot's now 7-0 Rangers.
Anytime Hammond can get his hands on it, freeze the puck, slow the play down, the Rangers are going to clearly make a concerted effort to push the game here to see if they can get themselves to within 1. And for Hammond, it's about keeping control of the puck to as often as possible. And for the Senators, don't just chip it out to center. Make a pass. Go D to D. Move the puck up the wing and get it out of the zone with control. Otherwise, you're going to end up back in your zone again after you reload on the clear out.
Turris line back out there. Here comes Hayes. He's been dangerous tonight. Kevin Hayes over the line. The drop pass off a Senator to the point. Held in by McDonagh. Hagelin in behind the goal. There's Hayes. St. Louis in front. There's St. Louis. Back to the point. Rangers on the move. Girardi played it to the wing, and now he'll set up in front. Dan Girardi parked in front. St. Louis shot off a stick wide of the net. It played in behind the goal again. Hayes bumped there by MacArthur. Carlson watching him. Hagelin back to Hayes in behind the net, and Clark MacArthur takes it away. Slowly ahead, looked at center, picked off by Stone. There's Mark Stone in and unable to get the shot away against Girardi. St. Louis, 11 times a 20-goal scorer in his career, 7 times with 30, once a 43-goal man. And that's an icing call against the Rangers. Kreider argues the call, but the faceoff coming back in the New York zone.
Really an odd play as you see Chris Kreider, who's had an excellent season for the Rangers. But Kreider went through the middle of the ice and he wasn't looking at the puck. The puck went right past him down for an icing call. As you see Kreider having a discussion with Justin St. Pierre. He's trying to tell him he's got something wrong with it. He just said he got hurt. He hurt himself. Justin St. Pierre went and told the coaches for the Senators that's why he's off the ice. And so they get a fresh player on the ice. I'm not so sure how badly he's hurt. The trainer's not talking to him, and he's sitting right beside me.
I think he's hurt as much as Rick Nash and Mark Stahl, who got the night off. Senators have not had a shot on goal since the deflection goal by Turris in the late stages of the second period. Directed out by Stepan. Ceci missed Zibanejad with the pass, and the puck slides back into the New York zone. Hoffman breaks up the first pass. Now forechecking again as the Rangers deflected in off the stick of Hagelin. 7.5 minutes into the third. Mark Mathot tied up, lost the puck. Ceci trying to help out. Scramble for the puck. Fast ties his man up, but Condra will flip it out. Puck down the ice. Pajot in pursuit. Knocked away by Lundqvist, and a shot steered wide by Condra. The chance Condra had at the end of the second period to make it 3-0 in the dying seconds on that breakaway. Here he is again. Centers for Lazar, tied up in front as the puck slides into the goal boat. Lazar battling for it again. It'll come loose. Carlson turns. Shot. Still loose. No stick for Lundqvist as he makes another stop. What a barrage that was. But Lundqvist able to keep the margin to 2.
By far the Senators' best moments offensively of the period, and it's Condra, Pajot, and Lazar that generate those chances on Henrik Lundqvist.
Back comes Boyle ahead for Shepherd. Stopped just inside the line. Legwand assumes control. Carlson looks up ice. It'll be flipped in by Zach Smith. Summers back in his own zone. A dangerous pass, nearly intercepted. But the Rangers cleared to the Ottawa line. 11-11 left here in the third. Mark Borowiecki ahead. Look for Zach Smith. Icing wave as the puck slides deep into Ranger ice. All 3 Ottawa shots coming in rapid fire there in that last sequence with Lazar, Pajot, and Condra. In around Henrik Lundqvist's net. Marty St. Louis back out there. He'll dash in. Get to the puck ahead of Greiva, but paid the price as Greiva with a good hit. Now Turris with speed. Kyle Turris into the zone. Across and out of the reach of MacArthur. Kyle Turris with a step there. Now Hagelin back the other way. Maybe the fastest guy in the league. That one batted in front and knocked away. And away goes Turris again. Turris slows it down, rolls it in. His line mates changing in behind the play, and now Uhlfield back to complete the change. Puck bounced down past Hammond. We've moved past the midway mark of the third. Up for Ryan. Just inside the line. Stepan back to get it for New York. Stepan ahead. Here's the dangerous Chris Kreider. Off the glove of Hammond. He'll reel it back. And hold on. 9:37 remaining in the third period as Ottawa protects a 2-goal lead.
Andrew Hammond's from Vancouver. His goaltending coach for the past 17 years is Pasco Villana. Villana's here on some business as well, and so he gets to watch his protege at Madison Square Garden, the first time for both of them. And I can assure you that Pasco is much more nervous than Andrew Hammond is.
Quite a story. And it continues here tonight.
He speaks glowingly of the time when he had to rejig his game, that being Hammond as a 20-year-old. In the BC Junior League, he gets a scholarship to Bowling Green and famously lost 14 straight games to start his college career. And that must seem like a million years ago with his unbelievable start to his NHL career.
Trying to answer his only regulation loss in the NHL. That puck flipped up onto the screen and out of play. Time for our player profile, brought to you by Asante, providing complete financial advice. Tonight we profile a guy who should be a finalist for the Calder Trophy with everything he has done, and now has a season-best 8-game point streak with an assist on the first goal of this game. Mark Stone, maybe, just maybe, getting the league-wide attention he deserves in the last few weeks. Notice a lot of the Pittsburgh media wanted to talk with Mark the other day, and secret's getting out slowly but surely.
It's like a horse race, and he's coming late.
Puck kept in at the line, and Hammond looked like he was surprised by it. Bad angle chance. Boyle took the shot, allowed to walk out to improve his angle. And Ottawa able to chop it out. Summers from his own side of center. Hammond left the crease, so ice and wave. Puck fired around and out. And that one gets by everybody down into the Ranger zone. 8 minutes left, third period. Rangers advance again. James Shepherd sent it in, turned back, and away goes Lazar. Here's Curtis Lazar with a quick shot. Not sure if that didn't catch the mask of Henrik Lundqvist. Pajot lost it. He'll have to regroup out at center. Jean-Gabriel Pajot dashing in. Nifty move, and another test for Lundqvist, who holds on. Well, we watch the clock. It's ticking down. 7:38 to go here in the third. Senators Facebook page after every win to vote on the Marks man of the match. Mark MacArthur, one member of that red-hot tourist line, 3 goals, 5 assists. His point streak now 6 games with a pair of points here tonight. Not that any of the individual stuff matters right now, does it, Ray?
No, not, well, it does if you're way out of the playoffs. It's the only thing you got to play for. But for the Senators, you just want to push this from period to period, from game to game. Give yourself a chance, and they've remarkably done that.
Look out, Keith Yandle's in, and a stop by Hammond. Dangerous dash by Keith Yandle.
Alain Vigneault likes his defenseman to pass the puck out of the zone. Now, Yandle is a puck carrier. Watch how quickly he gets from the hash marks into the open ice, and he gets Carlson with a push hard to his right, and then he steps to his left. But Carlson spins back to deny him the lane to the front, and Hammond's able to hold his ground and make the stop.
Number 93, Yandle, playing in his 83rd game of the year. You get extra pay for that?
No, you don't.
He may play 84. 10 points in his last 10 as he starts to fit nicely into this Ranger arsenal. Drive it, dispatches it back into New York ice. It's where Ottawa would love to play the bulk of this final 7 minutes. But here comes Hayes. Band on the first pass. Now gets it ahead to Yandle. Rink wide, and that off a stick back out to center.
The Senators have done a really good job denying those passes from side to side across the ice tonight.
Now a stretch pass off Condra's stick deep. He'll try to tie up Summers deep in the New York zone. Zibanejad arrives on the scene. There's Matt Hunwick. Rick fired around, looking for Kreider out at center. Thought he was hurt.
All good now. Didn't miss a shift.
Oh, Weirkosh tripped up by Stepan.
There's going to be a penalty here.
That will be called by the back official. And Ottawa will get a power play here and an opportunity to expand the lead as Stepan is in the box for 2 or less.
So Wes McCauley is the back official, and that's one of the ways this 2-referee system works. He actually has the best view of this. He's looking straight down at the play. He calls Stepan for the trip, and Ottawa can put this thing to bed here if their power play will come through.
Second power play of the night, did not register a shot on their first. They win the face-off. Carlson and Weirkosh, the point men, the Turris line up front. Stone parks at the side of the net. MacArthur in the slot. Stone, Turris. And again, Stone watched by Girardi. Turris takes over down low. Ricochets back to him. There's MacArthur. Turris again. Stone provides a screen, shot through on to Lundqvist. Rink wide, Carlson tipped it through, bouncing puck. And Lundqvist to stop, looked like he was going to drop his stick again. And the puck cleared. Tanner Glass now out. Get a penalty killing rule. Zibanejad to the attack. He weaves through and just missed Ryan with the pass. Ryan knocks it back to the point. Weirkosh looks for a shooting lane. He'll give it to Carlson. Back into the skates of Weirkosh. The captain shoots. Fought off, and a good stop there. Lundqvist shakes off the mask, and that will halt play. Let's see where they face it off. Rangers had cleared the zone, but Lundqvist had the mask pop off.
Here's the previous chance. As Stone is in front of the net with Girardi, he gets a couple of whacks at it. Lundqvist able to get the pads flat to make the stop, and Carlson's shot hits Lundqvist right in the mask. That knocks the little clip off on the side that holds it on. You see how easily he just shakes it off.
Give it the old Dwayne Roloson.
Oh, nobody could make the mask fly off like Roley. In that Stanley Cup run when the Oilers went to the final in 06, that mask was off as much as it was on.
Stepan in the box, 35 seconds remaining in his penalty. Carlson, good keep at the line, takes the shot. Zibanejad will take it and whistles it wide, and that ricochets up onto the netting. Well, the quest for the iconic green jacket continues tomorrow from Augusta. Second round beginning at 2 Eastern, 3 Atlantic, across the TSN network. Live coverage also available on TSN Go and TSN.ca, presented by CI Investments. Nice story that Rick Bowness will be at the final round of the Masters as the Tampa Bay Lightning honor him for over 2,000 games in coaching.
Going to be there with his sons.
Late stages of the power play. Down low, Chiasson gets past Ryan. Ceci back to Ryan. Chipped in behind the net, then Stepan out of the box. They got 3 shots, but unable to score their 3rd goal. But we're down to just over 4 minutes to go. Carlson across. Here comes the shot, and Lundqvist turns that away. Stepan rolls it ahead. Hagelin will roll it down, and the Rangers make changes. Trying to take it to Philadelphia to ensure that that game will mean something. And if Boston comes away with 1 point or less tonight, the Senators will hold destiny in their own hands. turned over here. Back in comes Condra, has had a good night. Eric Condra tries to center, and that almost squeaked through. Short side, held by Lundqvist. 3:28 remaining in the third. Canadian Tire Senators hockey on TSN is brought to you by Bell. Hockey just got better. By Molson Canadian, diehard fan and proud partner of the Ottawa Senators. And by Scotiabank. You're richer than you think. Scotiabank. 3:28 on the clock here at Madison Square Garden as the Senators try to lock down their 19th road win of the year. To this point, almost a perfect road game.
They have really minimized the damage in their zone. They played much of the game in the middle of the ice, and they've also taken away a lot of the Rangers' speed.
They play bump and run.
Can hardly wait to see what the analogy will be for Saturday's game.
Might be soccer. Here's Yandel. Keith Yandel's looked dangerous, dishing it off. Jesper Fast shot, and that's deflected wide. Rangers here with one more push, under 3 minutes left. Sticks aside by Hammond. The thought around the board. St. Louis knocked it down there. They'll try to clear again. The thought pushing it over, and the net is empty. The extra attacker out with 2:45 to go. Rangers have the extra man out. That one banked off the board, but wide of the net. Stone trying to out-hustle Yandel, who beats him for the icing call. Let's check our Molson game story tonight. That blitz with 1:04 late in the second period to give Ottawa the 2-goal lead, courtesy of the hotline. And for some reason, this is a place where Ottawa has been successful with regularity. Funny how that works, isn't it?
I've always wondered how that can be, because the players change so much from team to team, you know, from year to year, and yet the Senators seem to play well here most of the time. And now they're just a couple minutes and 30 seconds away from pushing this to the end of the year. Game 82.
Dave Cameron calling the timeout to...
There's nothing really to discuss here. It's just to make sure that your players are rested for a face-off here. And again, we'll go back to the discussion point of the Rangers not being very good on the draw. And Chris, they're forwards that are out of the lineup. They're not centermen either. I mean, this is going to be a problem for the Rangers as they get into the playoffs. You're going to need a big face-off win at some point. And can they win it?
So Turris against Stepan. Face-off won this time by New York. Shot right on, and the rebound pushed wide by JT Miller. That's what happens when you win a face-off. Scoring chance, and now it's Hayes. Again, extra attacker for the Rangers. Ryan McDonough into the middle, takes a return pass. Down low it goes into the corner. Rangers trying to break through here against Andrew Hammond side of the net. Here's Mathot up with it. Mathot on the backhand, chips it around. It ricocheted to Mathot, and he overskates it. Stepan's off, and Hammond stopped that as Ottawa missed a chance to clear.
Oh, the Senators got a little hungry for the empty net here, and this pass by MacArthur, he drops it back to Mathot. It's nice to keep control, but he should probably just chip this off the boards and get it out to center. And when everybody skates by the puck, it becomes a dangerous scoring chance for Stepan. You see that JT Miller is right on the doorstep, but Hammond able to swallow that up.
Dominic Bourque, best face-off man for the Rangers, comes out. Ottawa's won 27 of 44 draws. Rangers get that one. Fans react as Hanklin got tripped up off that draw. Back to Yandel. Yandel's shot is blocked by Condra. Along the boards it goes, and Pajot picks it up. Out he comes, gets to the red line, open net, scores! first road goal of the year, and it's 3-0 Ottawa.
Really strong play on the boards. And Pajot was able to make a nifty move at center and ice this with 99 seconds left. The play on the boards by Pajot was strong, and then he walks past St. Louis and dumps it into the middle of the net. And the Senators come into MSG and walk out with another huge 2 points. Andrew Hammond will go to 19-1-2. And the Senators' season will come down to Sunday afternoon.
Icing call against New York.
Saturday afternoon. Chris, how many times have I messed up the Saturday and Sunday in the last 2 hours? Saturday afternoon, of course.
You got that final round of the Masters on your mind.
Yes, I may.
Well, the remarkable run is going to go to game 82. The only question now is it win indefinitely in? Or will they still need a little help? There'll be some scoreboard watching when this is done.
Both Detroit and Boston are just entering the third period. The games are a half an hour behind, and the players are well aware. As soon as they get into the locker room, that'll be the first thing that they take a look at.
Zach Smith charged in, got a little backhand away. There's Lundqvist out to stop that, but down to 66 seconds left. Dave Cameron talked about some uncharacteristic mistakes early against Pittsburgh that his team hadn't been making. They made very few mistakes here tonight against the best team in the NHL.
I think, Chris, if you go up and down that bench in front of Dave Cameron, there's a couple of players that really played well, but you're not going to say 6 or 7 guys had standout games. What you're going to say is they got an 18-skater result tonight. The job was done. It was done simply. It was done responsibly. You called it a near-perfect road win, and they're 50 seconds from it becoming a perfect road win.
Here comes JT Miller sifting through. Bad angle shot, and it whistled wide. Kept in, and Miller's got it in the corner again. Watched by Borowiecki. Closed on him, took the puck away, sent it to the line. Summers unable to hold it in. And now away goes Zibanejad and Hoffman, and the trailer Ryan. And coming back to break that up was Ryan Bourque. 15 seconds to go, and only one thing left to be decided. What a performance by the Senators tonight. The run goes to 23-3, and Andrew Hammond will register his 3rd career shutout and beat the only team that beat him in regulation during this remarkable streak.
And when you look back at that streak and you think of the games where the Senators have laid an egg, maybe their biggest one was against the Rangers, and they respond here tonight with just a terrific road win.
So the 42nd win of the year, up to 97 points. Here are the Molson Canadian 3 stars of tonight's game. Clark MacArthur, who scored the game-winning goal, assisted on the second. Andrew Hammond, perfect through 26 stops. His toughest might have been the most awkward, but it helped preserve the shutout. And Mark Stone keeps showing up on the 3-star list. 3 stars in a 3-0 Ottawa Senators win in the penultimate game of this remarkable run. One more game Saturday afternoon in Philadelphia. That's the story, 3-0 from MSG, as the Ottawa Senators now win their 20th in their last 26 games. Hope you enjoyed it. So long from New York, as we get set for Philadelphia on Saturday afternoon.